Hey guys, we're gonna be drawing the coronary arteries today. I already have the heart pre-drawn, so if you'd like to pause the video and copy this down, I've labeled the superior vena cava, aorta, and pulmonary trunk already, just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. This is your right auricle of your right atrium. This is your left auricle of your left atrium. If I were to draw an imaginary line right here, it would be separating your right ventricle and your left ventricle. You're looking at the heart from an anterior perspective. So this is your sternocostal surface. This is your inferior border, left border, right border, apex. Okay. So now that we're oriented, we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna start with your right coronary artery, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue the aorta down a little bit with dashed lines to show that it continues into the heart behind these structures. And I'm going to draw your right coronary artery, at least the opening from the right aortic sinus, coming down under your right auricle. Okay. And it's traveling now through the right atrioventricular groove, and I'm gonna pop behind the heart. So I'm gonna stop right there. So enough space to draw two branches here, and I'm gonna talk about both of them at the same time here. So the first branch that I drew off the right coronary artery is your sinuatrial nodal artery. Okay, so let's label our right coronary artery and our sinuatrial nodal artery. This is our sinuatrial nodal artery coming from the right coronary going towards the right atrium and the SVC. Okay, that's your right coronary artery continuing down. All right, and I'm going to color this part in because I want to show that you can actually see this. It's not behind anything. And then your next branch will be your conus branch of the right coronary artery. And I already kind of started drawing that here. So that is this guy right here. And you have multiple of these branches. Then the very next branch we're going to do is we're going to draw a little tiny branch here coming from the right coronary into your right atrium, and that is your atrial branch of the right coronary artery. Right here. Finally, on the anterior side, you may see a long artery that travels along the inferior border of the heart, and that is your right marginal artery, right there. Okay, now that we're done with the stuff on the anterior side, we can loop back around following this right coronary artery into the back side. And I'm using a lighter color to just indicate that now we're on the posterior side, okay? So you can do that as well, just to avoid confusion. We're gonna terminate into our final three branches of the right coronary artery. Right here, that is the first one. And then you'll have another one that continues down the posterior interventricular groove here. So there's one that goes up into the crux, and that's this one. And then you have one that continues down the posterior interventricular groove, and then you'll have one kind of goes into the left ventricle. And I'm gonna label them now. So that one that goes into the interatrial septum, or I tried to make it look like it's going into that, is your atrioventricular nodal artery, or your AV nodal artery. The one that goes down the posterior interventricular groove is your posterior interventricular artery. And then the last one that goes into feeds blood into the left ventricle from the right coronary is your right posterolateral artery. All right. So we're done with the right coronary artery. Now we're gonna go to the left. We're gonna start again with the aorta. From the aorta, we have blood dumping into the left aortic sinus, into the left coronary artery. All right, and the left coronary artery splits off, often early, into two directions. You have one that comes around the back here of the heart, wraps around and comes around the back of the heart, and that is your circumflex artery. So let's label, this is your left coronary. It's your circumflex artery. And then we'll continue that path in just a moment. The other side comes to the anterior side of the artery, which wraps around the front and runs through the anterior interventricular groove, which makes this your anterior interventricular artery. Such. Okay. We'll have a branch coming off the LCA also going towards the conus arteriosus of the right ventricle. This is your conus branch of your left ventricular artery. Again, working our way back up, at least on the anterior side, we'll have a artery that kind of comes off diagonally or laterally of the heart to the left border, and that is your your lateral or diagonal artery. Because we have a right marginal, we'll also have a left marginal, and this artery comes off often the circumflex branch, and we'll hit the left margin of the artery, of the heart, not the artery. Okay. So any artery you see on the left margin of the heart, that is your left marginal artery. Okay, so now we're going to follow our circumflex around. And before we end there, there's one last artery that comes off on the back side of the heart from the left coronary artery, and that is your posterior left ventricular artery, aptly named for where it goes. It goes to the posterior left ventricle, a lot like the right posterolateral. And that's pretty much it. Practice this a few times and where things go, and you'll have it in no time. Thank you.